All right, so here I am. I'm doing it. I'm calling it. This is me starting this thing. I have several projects. The goal of these videos is multifaceted. One, it's to establish, I don't know, a timeline and some entertainment, I'm hoping. It's also so that one day down the road, when I'm not here, that my daughter and potentially her kids can see who I am. It's something that I wish I had from my parents, because there's questions I can't ask, I can't see, can't remember voices, and that with time is probably why it makes it so easy. I don't mean to go to a dark place at all. In fact, this is going to get pretty dumb pretty quick, but that's why I'm doing this. If anything else transpires from it, great, that would be fantastic, but not expected. All right, so project one, my wife's truck. I love my wife to death. And she has a 98 Chevy Silverado with 70-something thousand original miles. It's a nice truck. It's very clean, except the weather and time and sun has just kind of beat it up. So as we speak, it's in the body shop getting a full restoration on the outside, because I've been kind of given specific instructions. Don't touch the inside, which I'm not. We did do a few things. I changed the OBS dash inside of it, and I got a numbers and everything matching dash for it, so that looks a lot better, because if you know anything about those old trucks, they fall apart very quickly, and the sun just destroys them. It's now garage kept, so that shouldn't be such a problem, but maintaining it and keeping it cared for is going to be a huge part of this. So I bought all of the external body parts and panels and pieces and door latches, the Silverado emblems, the trim along it, the lights. Everything is being brought to and resurrected to a factory standard, or brand new. I spent a lot of time searching for hard to find things, and some of them were a huge pain in the butt to get. Some of them were very easy, but I tried to go as authentically GM and as factory as humanly possible. So those are being installed and the paint's being done as we speak. Factory color, nothing special, but it should look fantastic when it's done. And I'm very excited about that. So the wife's project, which I don't know if we've named yet, but that should come soon. The second and third project are behind me. You see the black car there, and then in the background there's a car cover. I have a 67 Camaro that is now my daughter's. That project is, and she named it, it's Project Constantine, like, you know, the Keanu Reeves one. So we're going to be revamping that quite a bit. Some of the big things are going to be paint, as it's pretty much ready for paint. Need to do front suspension, need to do brakes, and here's why. So we got the car running and moving around just before Halloween. The reason why just before Halloween is in this shop we drag everything out and we build a haunted house for Halloween. We've done it twice now. It's been a huge success. I'll throw an image up. With that, getting the car out and moving on its own accord was very important. So changed all the fluids, did a little bit of work making sure it's not right, pulled out miles of wiring of all the stupid stuff that I had installed over the years, because I'm not very smart, but I'm very good with 12 volts. And if you've ever seen a mechanic's car, they're almost always in disrepair. People that install car stereos, their cars are no better, and this was a kind of a direct result of that. So I yanked out miles and miles and miles of wiring, alarms, etc. It's all gone. It's cleaned up. It's very close to factory, aside from the aftermarket radio that's in there and a few other little things. That said, took it out to knock off the dust off the car and drive it around the neighborhood. My neighborhood's not that big. There's only 40 homes here. 40 something acres, 80 acres with the lake. So I drove it around. Everything went fine. It's running good. Put a new carburetor on it, make sure that it's running really good, and took Alyssa out for her maiden voyage driving this car. And wouldn't you know it, on the maiden voyage, well, the second voyage on its maiden voyage, going around the block, the brakes went out. Coming downhill, facing a lake in a 67 Camaro, the brakes went out. I don't know if anybody's prepared for the butt clenching that comes from losing your brakes going down a hill heading towards a lake in a classic muscle car. But it happened. I'm in the passenger seat, she's in the driver's seat, and the story goes a little like this. We're coming down this hill, and I say, honey, it's got old brakes, it's 4-round drum brakes. You might want to start pushing on the brakes pretty good. I look over to her in what I arguably call a plank position, where she has the steering wheel gripped with all of her might, and she is pressing on the brake pedal with both feet, again, with all of her might, leaning back into it. And the car's not slowing down. So me, in my infinite wisdom, try to move it into the next gear, of which it does. It goes into neutral with no problem. And that's where we're stuck. I shut off the car and try and grind it into either reverse or back into a gear. It's got a very large stall converter, so it's basically a neutral the whole time we're just rolling around. And we are coming down off this hill, which tees to the street at the end of mine, or at the end of this downhill. And it's a 90-degree turn, right or left or right, whatever I'm saying. So we decide, okay, the best thing coming down off this hill is to make a left turn, and I reach over and I grab the steering wheel with everything and hook it as hard as I can at the last second, hoping to spin out the car or have it drag or something a little bit. We hit the culvert just slightly enough for it to rip my wedding ring enough to dislocate this finger, of which it slows down the car pretty drastically. My daughter then takes back over the steering wheel and rolls till we go back around and back sort of up the hill on the next street over, to which we finally come to a full and complete stop. I can slam it into park and go, what happened? Take assessment. Realize that my finger's been, at the time, I think it's broken completely. Because it's just a huge knot. The wedding ring's not coming off, which I'll put some of the x-rays and things like that in here too. We get our composure. She heads back to the house. She calls her mom from the house. Have a friend of ours come down. He's got some brake fluid in the car because we popped the top and realized there is no brake fluid in the reservoir. Yeah. Things you should always check, all of your fluids. And we did. What we didn't check is a car from 1967 having brakes from about that time with new parts or newer parts. And sitting for a few years, driving from California to Texas where we moved, and the bumps and the shakes, and we didn't make sure everything wasn't leaking. So on those 2 small trips, we went through the entire reservoir, which was, I want to say, about 90% of the braking power is in the front brakes, the way it's proportioned currently. We both went to the ER together, and we have a great story to tell. There's no damage whatsoever to the car, just to us. She's good now. I'm almost fully back with the finger. You can see there's a little bit of width there, but I should get my wedding ring fixed in the next month or two, and we'll see how that goes. Just not a smart thing. So we're going to upgrade brakes. We're going to upgrade front suspension. I'm going to hook up the emergency brake again because it's been disconnected ever since I bought it. So that way we have the emergency brake. Hey, who knew? And I'm going to proportion the back wheels a lot heavier. I'm thinking 60-40 should be a good split on this car's braking power. Because the front will be disc brakes, and those should have inherently a higher value. And that's what I'm going to do to that. Paint, brakes, suspension. I'm going to put a new shifter in there because she doesn't like the Hirsch ratchet shifter that's currently in the car. I don't blame her. And then we'll start modifying and adapting a few more elements and pieces specifically for her. That way she's comfortable driving it, likes driving it, gets that nostalgia. Anybody that's ever driven an old car, an old muscle car, you know exactly what I'm talking about. That nostalgia is the best way to describe it. So there's that. And then so Project A, the truck. Project B, Constantine, is the Camaro. And the last project, which is much more in depth, is the 70 Chevelle. That is going to be a few years, so I should have a lot of content over the next few years with just that alone. I finally built the shop that I've always wanted. Well, I didn't build it, I just refurbished it. It was studded out and really basic, and I'll do that in another video going forward. Maybe do some overly narration just to kind of talk about why I did it, how I did it, the image it was in. And yeah, so this is me. My name is James Diaz. I'm a 46-year-old idiot. I'm happy. I have an amazing wife, a phenomenal daughter who is our everything. She's currently on her drive for her master's, and when she watches this one day, I would just want to say, man, you're awesome. You keep doing it. Keep being amazing. I hope the very best for you, Alyssa. I really do. Yeah, that's it for video one. Hopefully there's some entertainment value. Hopefully you like where this is going. Hopefully I stick to it. You got to do things to build a habit, and that's what today is about, is building that first video so that I have something to expand on. In that first video, you'll have my voice, you'll have the story. Alyssa one day hopefully will tell the opposite side of this story so that you can hear that I probably panicked a little more than I led on to, but I think we do really good in an emergency, especially when we're together. I have other emergency stories. We rolled the golf cart, but that's for a later one. Yeah, I'll tell that story probably in the next video. Thanks a lot for watching. Please subscribe. Please thumbs up or thumbs down, and engage with me in the comments. I will answer every comment I possibly can until the next video comes out, and then I'll move on to the next video's comments. I want to give everybody as much time as I humanly can, so we'll see how this works. Thanks a lot for watching.